I've got a challenge. We're gonna talk about Beefy mixers, and we're gonna try to do it in 5 minutes. I think it's possible, and I think you'll understand why when we get started. My name is Harris. Welcome to the Senpai Gaming channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's build a parasocial relationship together. Hey, before we get started on that 5-minute clock though, did you know that you can get professionally designed alerts and overlays for your live stream for 50% off right now? Yeah, Own.tv, the sponsor of today's video, is your, say it with me now, one-stop shop for all your stream overlay and alert needs. And they became that because they have a giant library of like hundreds of designs. Like check this one out. This one called Skylar right here, that's kind of blowing my mind. It's got these 80s retro vibes to it, as well as some animated electricity going on there for not only your overlays, but also transitions. It's pretty dope. Plus these overlay packs not only give you alerts and overlays, they also give you banners and panels and profile pictures and anything you could possibly want. So check out Skylar, check out some of their best sellers, and use the link in the description below to get 50% off. Plus, by the way, that link helps support the channel, so thank you for using it. Let's jump back into this video and let's start the 5-minute clock right now. Wait, I lied, don't start it yet. I just realized that I haven't peeled this thing yet. Oh, you ready? Let's pull the mic up to it. Ready for this? What a special day. Let's get right up close. Oh, you're welcome. Dang, I'm getting fingerprints all over this thing. So look, I've been excited about this video for one reason, and that reason being, these are both fantastic devices. Like I would ask you to finish this video because there are differences and I want to explain the differences, but realistically, if you were to buy either one of these, you'd be really happy. And that's a video I like. I like just like an overwhelmingly positive video about gear. And that's what this is. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about these differences. Let's start with the thing that you see first. Let's talk about the top of these devices. This stuff. The main thing you're probably noticing between these two is the difference in the screen size. Like this is you, and then this is the guy she tells you not to worry about. I mean, they're both good screens, don't get me wrong. And size isn't everything. Size is a lot. Like this screen is just a behemoth. It's honestly one of the biggest changes about it. One of my favorite things about it. It is a good screen. It's got an anti-reflective coating on the top. It's just beautiful. It helps with a handful of things that we'll get into in a minute. The other first thing I noticed is the number of faders. I gotta stop setting these down. I keep just setting them down and picking them back up. The RODECaster Pro has 6 faders, while the Mackie Creator DLZ has 9. Like, that's a lot of faders. But it's not one-to-one comparison here. For example, the Rode is able to program those faders. Let me give you a real-world example. My real-world example, actually. I've got my guitar rig, which is an AXFX3 going out of stereo outs, plugging into microphone jack 3 and 4 on this thing. In the RODECaster, I was able to combine input 3 and 4 into a single track as a stereo pair and program it to a single fader. So this fader was my guitar, even though it was going into 2 different jacks. With the Mackie, you can actually see there are dedicated numbers at the bottom of each of these, and so 3 and 4 are both my guitar rig, which is unnecessary, but it's not a deal breaker, it's fine. Cool, they both have a bunch of knobs, they both have a bunch of buttons. We're done with the top. This is great. Let's move on to the back. Let's talk about the I/O, which is almost identical. There's like one change on each of these. They both have 4 mic inputs. Those mic inputs are also super high gain, so you can plug an SM7B into either one of these without needing any kind of cloud lifter. I think the Rode does 76 dB of gain. The Mackie does 80 dB of gain. That 4 dB of gain makes 0 difference. They're both great. They both have 4 headphone jacks. They both have balanced monitor outs. They both have Ethernet. They both have SD cards to record locally. There are minor differences, and let's go over those. First off, the Mackie has an extra set of inputs and outputs. You can see their 1/4" ins and outs right here. I might actually put my guitar into there. That would make it 1 fader. Cool, I learned something today. But the other main difference is that while the Rode has 2 USB jacks for plugging into 2 computers at the same time, the Mackie does not. This is really great for streamers that want to do a 2 PC setup, like I've actually got over here. I've got my PC and my Mac. You can plug both computers into the device and route audio back and forth between the two to each other. On the Mackie, that second USB jack is replaced with an auxiliary input, a stereo input jack, like a headphone jack, except it goes in, not out to headphones, which for most use cases is totally fine. In fact, you could plug a second PC into that aux input and go out of any of these extra outputs. You could go out of a headphone jack and go back into your PC that way. So again, different, but they're both great. Difference number 3, how are we doing on time, by the way? I think we're killing it. Let's talk about the price. So as of right now, looking on Amazon, which by the way, I will link to both of them in the description below. Those will be affiliate links, so thank you. The RODECaster Pro is going for $699 USD, and the Mackie is going for $799 USD. So $700 to $800, pretty similar. I think you're pretty much just paying for the bigger screen. This is a beefy thing though. I can't believe how big this thing is. You better have a big desk. Last category here, and this is where we're gonna find the most differentiation. Let's talk about user experience. How does the software work? How does the setup work? What's it like to actually use them? Well, the setup on both of these is great. Both of them have a little bit of a walkthrough, get you set up, get you started. The Mackie holds your hand through the setup a little bit more, but for the most part, they're both great. I would say the Rode's interface is a little bit easier to use for content creators. Setting up things that are generally complex, Rode has made a little bit easier. Things like submixes, things like routing. These are not simple things to do, but Rode's had a long time making content creator devices, so they've refined this over time. They also have their Unify software that runs directly, well, partially runs directly on here, and it does a really great job of simplifying complex things. Now, the Mackie is also great. It didn't take me very long to mimic my entire Rode setup and set this thing up at my stream. However, where the Mackie has a slight advantage is when you get into more nitty-gritty, like fine-tuning audio things like plugins, EQ, compression, stuff like that, the Mackie's got a little bit more of a precise handle on it. Fine tweaking your EQ on the Mackie is a lot easier, mostly due to the gigantic screen and the fact that the 5 knobs, I can count. The 5 knobs are on the side, so you actually have parameters on the right side of the screen that you can fine tune with a dial like this, rather than a single smart dial to do everything on the RODECaster. Again, not a deal breaker for either. Just good to know. So the Rode might cater a little bit more towards content creators, while the Mackie kind of leans more towards professionals. Now, again, we're talking very minor and subtle changes between the two. Both professionals and creators would heavily enjoy either of these. Plus, realistically, if you're a content creator picking up one of these, you're gonna have a little bit of a learning curve on either of them. Like if you wanted to go simple, you would have gotten an Elgato device or a Beacn device. And honestly, if I'm being real, the Mackie has an easy mode built in here. So everything here is great. Can I stress that enough? Everything is great. It's 2 a.m. There is one more really cool feature on the Mackie that the Rode doesn't have, and that's called Automix, and it's a button right on the top. Essentially what that does, if you have multiple mics plugged into the mic jack, when one person is talking, it automatically lowers the gain of the other ones. That way, if there's a little bit of static or a little bit of noise in the room, maybe an AC or something, you don't have 4 mics constantly picking up all the noise at the same time, or my voice doesn't get picked up into all the different microphones. Just a nice little touch for podcasters. But that's pretty much it with the comparison between the two. I feel like I need to end with the disclaimer I always give on the Rode, and it applies to this too. If you are a single content creator that just needs a microphone and some mixing software, these are going to be a little bit overkill for you. We're talking 4 professional preamps in the back, 4 headphone jacks. This thing is designed for either podcasters with multiple people talking at once, or crazy people like me who have 2 PCs and a guitar rig plugged in and speakers coming out of it. So look, if you're not podcasting with multiple users, or you're not an idiot like me, you might be paying a little extra for stuff that you're not going to use. But if you are one of these people, let me know which one of these you think works for you. Which one's the most interesting? Which one's the most exciting? Don't have an opinion? That's fine. Leave an emoji in the comments for engagement, because it helps out the channel a lot. Also hit the like button. Thank you so much. And as always, happy streaming.